Well, we finally met up to the video chapter 8, which is the final video for this module 5 for the discussion board. And once you've completed studying the materials we have just discussed, we're at a point where it makes sense to bring that knowledge into your everyday life. Just make it part of what you do day by day. And this week's assignment, or this module's assignment is a better way to say it, is directed towards making the process of written communication a matter of second nature. Rather than you having to think about it every time you do something, eventually, and it won't take long, it'll just be part of your everyday workflow, and it'll become very natural for you. So, and as part of this assignment, we wish for you guys to try and remain focused on the major skills related to written communication, which goes back to the active and passive voice, which is such a critical aspect of how we communicate in a written format as well as a verbal. But, you know, we're mainly applying that in written because this is the electronic communication. But we're going to have a lot of emails, we're going to have RFIs, ASIs that have their own forms. Some things will have their own forms and some we'll create ourselves, such as emails. And we've talked about blogs, and we've talked about texting and when and where you should use them and where you should not. And so basically we're looking at those as hard skills. What are the things that you just know are rules and you just live by them? So we're really looking at all the hard skills in the discussion board, and when we move to the individual, we'll move into the soft skills. And in this one module, you're going to find that the soft skills have already been addressed in the way we communicate. Really, the only thing about the soft skills in this module relates to, are we going to use these tools or are we not? And when does it make sense to use them, and when should we never use them? So throughout the module, we've been discussing the various types of mediums or formats in which we communicate as part of our everyday work duties. And this module is a little bit different, as we were just talking, as the soft skills are related to whether you decide to follow the recommendations. It's not so much that, oh, I've got to learn something as a soft skill. It's more, do I use a blog or not? And if I am using it, is it something that makes sense and I'm getting benefit from it or not? And should I use chat rooms? And as we've said here, the worst thing you could do is start getting involved with those chat rooms. So now it's up to you guys to say, yeah, I'm going to live up to that, or no, I just don't agree with it. So it's really a matter, the soft skills are related to your attitude towards how you're going to do your communication and what mediums you're going to do with that communication. And in other words, are you following the crowd and using chat rooms and various other things just because everybody else is doing it? Or do you go find a more professional way in which to communicate using standards that have been accepted by your company? So it's really a matter of you sitting down as a soft skill and saying, yeah, I understand that a lot of people love to do it this way, but I'm going to have to kind of go against the crowd, and so does the company itself go against the crowd, because it's causing us to use standards that aren't really going to support us in the long term of that job. Because this area of study is based on your commitment to using standard electronic mediums, the logical place to start is to do all the homework necessary to see, firstly, does your company have a set of standards for electronic communication, or are you going to need to set them on your own? And this is really important for your job kickoff meeting, to make sure that you're basically establishing the ground rules for all of your project record. This is for every project engineer, administrator, safety guy, it affects everybody that's on that job site. So it's really important that that's the first thing you really need to get on top of. So the first part of this assignment is for you guys to go out and research your corporate electronic communication standards. And this is really good for you as well, because if there are those standards out there, you should know what they are and make sure you're complying with them, because that's a big deal. And you really don't want to find yourself making a mistake that you could have avoided had you known the information you need. So once you've found all these standards, and there's going to be a bunch of them, you'll have some on emails, you'll probably have some on how you save things, how you put things into your servers, all of those type of things. And once you've found all those different standards and applicable parts associated with it, we ask that you study all of those standards along with the class materials, the classroom materials, before you start taking your survey for this module. And as you finish that and you're ready to take the survey, gather all those standards together in such a way that you can email them to us along with your completed survey. And that's really going to give us the opportunity to give you some peer review, looking at your standards and then looking at how you're dealing with them in your survey will give us a good idea of if there's any weak spots or really strong spots that you may want to accentuate, or other parts you want to try and mitigate or fix. So there's a link to that survey, which is the last post in the discussion in the classroom materials. So if you go to the very bottom of your Mod 5 discussion board, you'll see the bottom post is called Survey for Mod 5 Discussion Boards - Methods of Delivery. So just click that link and it'll bring up your survey just like the other surveys in the previous modules. And once you've completed that survey, send it to the link, which is down at the very bottom, just like it was in the other surveys. And then make sure you attach that package of standards along with it that you previously compiled. And once we get all that done, that's going to give us a really good feel of first of all, the environment you're working in, if there are standards that you may want to add to what you're doing that may help your specific job in a different way. And it really is going to hopefully build a lot of confidence in you that you know how everything is and how you can get to all of those materials. So basically, there's not a big deal to Module 5. It's really just incorporating all the standards you can find and how that applies to all the different types of media that we've just looked at, the blogging, the chatting, the emails, the Facebooks and all that type of stuff, YouTubes. So we're really just trying to get a good feel for it by you sending us all this data. We'll take a good look at it, and we'll send back, if we see anything that's popping out at us, some peer review that may perhaps help you with some different areas of study. Or if you have some questions, just drop in a short narrative with the class, with all your compiled materials with the standards, and just let us know what you'd like to have a better understanding of, so that when you move into the assignment board, which is the last half of this module, you'll be very prepared for it, and you'll know which direction you really want to focus into. So we'll talk to you as soon as we see you on the individual side.